You won't believe how easy it is to make this DIY candy cauldron. This comes together so quickly, you just need some logs and an LED light strip for the base. Pick our color. To finish off our fire base, we just need some tissue paper, cover up those lights. Now for our cauldron, and I cut a little hole so I can put our quartz through. On the inside of that cauldron, I just have a strip of LED lights. These are so inexpensive and you can find these everywhere. This is gonna give us that creepy glow inside of our cauldron. This is so genius for the smoke, an oil diffuser. This was like 10 bucks. And you can fill it with a scent. I'm gonna use this cauldron to hand out candy, so let's fill it up. Ha ha ha, trick or treat. To get a really eerie atmosphere, it's not about doing the most, it's about combining simple elements that work together. The simplest thing you can do is just add lighting. Choose a waterproof LED light. They're color changing and they're gonna be perfect to set any mood. And you can strategically hide them behind other elements. Choose lighting and props that fit a particular theme, so that way your entire yard is cohesive. Something as simple as a fog machine or DIY special effects can really bring a wow factor in your neighborhood. It's gonna be talking about your yard. When those trick-or-treaters come by, don't just hand them candy out of a plain old bucket. Do something fun and get creative. I'm setting up a few speakers to pump in some scary vibes. Set an atmosphere with some spooky sound effects, or you can make it a party with a Halloween playlist. A portable Bluetooth speaker works perfect for triggering scares from nearby. What was that? Every season, there seems to be a new variety of pumpkin to choose from. Whether just for display or carving, you wanna make sure you get a good one. When it comes to those carving and jack-o'-lantern style pumpkins, you want a smooth skin with consistent color. Of course, no pumpkin is perfect. A few imperfections is just personality. What you do wanna avoid is any soft spots or deep scratches, so give it a poke all around. To make sure your pumpkin lasts, also make sure the bottom's not mushy, you want it to be firm, and look for a strong, sturdy stem. Because if it breaks off or is missing, your pumpkin just won't last as long. And it looks so cool. So carry it by the sides or underneath to protect that stem. If you're carving, give it a knock. It should sound hollow, that means the skin is thin enough for you to carve. Some varieties like pie pumpkins are best for eating because they're mostly solid all the way through. And don't skip out on heirloom pumpkins with their odd shapes and interesting colors. It is Halloween after all. Of course you want to get the freshest pumpkin, so if you have the opportunity, get one locally grown. Any pumpkin you pick is gonna have a few flaws. For me, it's about finding the one with the most character. It's a ghoulish gourd. You have everything you need to make realistic blood at home. For our edible blood, we're gonna start with corn syrup. To make this look like blood, we need red food coloring. Start off with a few drops. You can always add more. For the true blood hue, add a few drops of blue. This will give you that dark, rich blood color. That's more like it. The other secret of movie quality fake blood is cocoa powder or chocolate syrup. Just a little bit of cocoa powder will help with color and texture. Give everything a good mix and we have our blood. Washable fake blood starts with laundry detergent. Look in the craft section for washable finger paint. A little red. For the right color, just a touch of blue. Cornstarch is gonna give us the right texture and consistency. This washable fake blood is perfect for costumes and sets. Just call me Dexter. I have a ton of leftover candy. Now it's time to figure out what to do with it. You can freeze candy to help extend its shelf life. But one thing I like to do is chop it up into smaller bits. Just gonna pack this in a freezer bag. Of course, you could separate your candy, but I like a mixture. Add a date and keep this in the freezer. That way, it's ready for topping sundaes, add it to popcorn, or your own chocolatey trail mix. You can even use leftover candy pieces to make your own homemade ice cream cake. Let that freeze for at least 4 hours, but better yet, overnight. A springform pan makes things so easy. Run a knife under some hot water to make slicing easy.
For some kids, having the option for sugar-free candy can really make their night. These are also great options to hand out to all kids to help reduce their sugar intake this Halloween. Read the nutrition label to spot how many calories, carbs, and sugars are in your candy. Fun-sized candy bars generally contain less sugar, so if you want to stick to the classics, consider these. Many brands, including Hershey's, have started offering sugar-free options for all lifestyles. When it comes to allergies and dietary preferences, I like to make separate bins just to be safe. Brands like Smart Sweets and Yum Earth do a great job at recreating some of our favorite classics with less sugar. Just get a few flavors in bulk and add them to your special bin. If you want to offer a candy alternative, consider individually packed snacks like Goldfish or Skinny Pop. There's also fun toys and gifts you can give kids that aren't food related at all.
Every fall comes the opportunity for you to express your creativity on a pumpkin canvas. There's that long-standing tradition to remove the top, but there's a better way, starting at the bottom. I like to invert the pumpkin over a large bowl to protect the stem. Make sure everything's sturdy and stable. We're gonna be carving after all. The perfect tool for removing larger pieces is a serrated knife or a keyhole saw. You can do this freehand or trace a circle. I like to trace a shape, it just gives me more guidance. A tooth blade like this makes it easy to get through that thick flesh. PSA time, keep your hands clear, take your time, and be safe. A trusty metal spoon, one with a sharper edge, is gonna help you scrape out those insides. Or you can bring out the heavy machinery. Just be gentle not to scrape away too much of the inside. Shout out to the dad that came up with this, it works really well. For extra large pumpkins, use a paint mixing attachment. A little overkill for this pumpkin, but it's awesome. Once you pick a side of the pumpkin where your carving will go, I like to thin out a little bit more of the wall from the inside. That means you'll have less to get through when you're carving. I like to use a dry erase marker to create my design. If you make a mistake or change your mind, you can quickly erase it. If you've never used these before, a set of pottery tools can be perfect for carving pumpkins. You can find these affordably online, and the different tips can give you more control in detailing. You don't have to be a pottery pro, just experiment. These tools make it so easy to just make little adjustments. Pumpkins do look so much better with the stem intact, and you can set it right over your light. Don't let this go to waste. Roast those seeds, puree the rest of the insides to make pumpkin bread, but we'll save that for another day.
One really cool way to level up your costume is to use a prosthetic. To glue our prosthetic, we're gonna use Pros-Aid instead of spirit gum. First, apply glue right on the prosthetic. If you get sweaty, there's a sweat-stopping product you can apply before the glue. Now a little glue. Time to apply the prosthetic. Now I need to blend the edges of my nose. There's several ways to do this, but I'm gonna keep it really easy and basic and just use more glue. Now I'm gonna apply a little powder to the edges and then use foundation to match my nose to my skin color. For a little added effect, I'm gonna color in this mole. You can either leave the wart skin toned or color it in for added effect.
Decorating for the fall season doesn't have to induce fear and loathing. If things are properly packed, it'll be easy to access and decorate come the next season. Be careful what you store outdoors and in your garage. Temperature-sensitive items should be kept aside and stored indoors. For indoor decorations, I love a clear bin. You can see exactly what's inside. This should be a no-brainer, but label your bins as well. It's also easy to add some color coding to your seasonal bins. You can find a variety of colored and patterned duct tapes, which are perfect for the job. Keep things organized, separate them by room or type of decor. So when you need it, everything will be in the right place. And a simple shipping label. See you next fall. I like to pick my pumpkins early, but it can be a fight against nature to get them to last all season. Once you get it home, give it a good wash with soap and water. Now that you're nice and clean, let's get you completely dry. Washing away all that dirt and any mold spores will help this pumpkin last. An alternative, fill a sink or a bucket up with water, add a few tablespoons of bleach, and let it soak for 20 to 30 minutes. Carved pumpkins, fun to make, but they're live fast and die young. One of the best preservation methods, petroleum jelly. You're gonna need a liberal amount and rub it all over the inside and any of those exposed edges. You want this stuff all around. Good thing it's cheap. This will create a barrier so the pumpkin stays firm and doesn't lose too much moisture. Use a battery-operated light, especially if the inside's coated with petroleum jelly. An open flame could be a fire hazard. Actually, avoid flames altogether. It'll heat up the inside and that pumpkin will be toast in no time. Let's make a pumpkin preservation spray. We'll start with some water, just a little bit of Castile soap, peppermint if you can. Or you can add a few drops of a peppermint essential oil to help fight fungus. Give a little spray every day while it's on display. I love this method because it's natural, but a more effective solution is to use a few drops of bleach in your water and spray away. If you want your pumpkin to last, keep it cool and shaded while it's on display outside. But if you really want your pumpkin to last, keep it covered in the fridge during the day. Candy should last 6 to 12 months, and I'm sure there'll be a birthday between then. Save that candy to stuff inside a piñata. Host a party or bring it over as a gift. I like to sort the stuff I want to keep and set the rest aside. Small candies I like to decant into containers. These are ready to go for a sundae bar, or easily measure out mix-ins for baking. Now you can easily grab a piece, throw it into a recipe or lunchbox. I'm not even a big candy fan, but sometimes it's the thrill of the hunt. How much can you get? For the spookiest atmosphere, you need a fog machine. Of course, you can purchase a solution, but making your own takes 2 ingredients. The solution is mostly distilled water and just a touch of vegetable glycerin. Make sure it's non-toxic, food-grade glycerin. By mixing your own, you can control the density of the fog. More glycerin will give you a thicker fog, and less glycerin will give you a light haze. That's all you need, 2 cheap ingredients that are easy to find. Use fog the next time you want a spooky atmosphere. These are some makeup tips that can really elevate any costume. Before you get started with your makeup, you want to prepare your canvas. To a clean face, I'm going to apply a topical antiperspirant. A little dab will do you, and this will help prevent oil and sweat buildup. This will keep your makeup lasting all night long. Every creepy character has a lot of drama to their face, so we're going to create that with dimension using highlights and shadows. I'm using a shade lighter than my skin to create highlights. These highlights are going to go on the parts of your face where light would naturally hit. For the shadows, I'm gonna use a shade darker than my skin. I'm gonna start with the cheekbones, and I'm applying the makeup where light would naturally create shadows. I'm using some black to really play up the draw on my hair. This is gonna go in the eyes, really accentuating the brow. This will make deep pockets right in the inside socket of your eye. To complement that really awesome costume, good quality makeup's gonna go a long way to give you the best results. And for tools, you only need a couple of brushes, a big one for larger areas and a small one for details. And Q-tips are gonna be so helpful for cleaning up mistakes and helping blend. A really great idea is to do a trial the week before you need your makeup for a costume. That way you can dial in the look, get used to it, so you're not stressed out the night of. Here's how to transform ordinary leftover candy into delicious treats. We're gonna make a blondie batter, and that starts with melted, slightly cooled butter. Brown sugar, and I got my little bear here. White granulated sugar. Touch of vanilla, yep, I'm that kind of baker. The one that doesn't measure. Give that a mix. Time to add our eggs. Measure my flour. Be sure to spoon and level. That's the proper way. Salt. Make sure all that's combined together, and everything just gets mixed together. Let's prepare our baking dish with some parchment paper. But first, the trick is to spray the pan before you put the parchment in. This helps the parchment adhere to the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna pour in half of this batter, slide it around all the corners. I'm gonna chop up a little bit of this leftover candy. Anything really works. Your favorite chocolate bars are great. Peanut butter cups. I'm gonna add this in the middle. You can use whatever your favorite blondie recipe is. A little more on the top, and we're ready for the oven. Amazing gooey blondie bars full of that leftover chocolate candy. I'm putting together a convincing fire effect to shock the neighborhood. You can assemble this DIY fire effect against any window. I just used a tension rod. I'm also using a white sheet to reflect the light, but we'll get there in a little bit. I think this is gonna look so cool. I saw this online and couldn't wait to try it. Now that the curtain is set, I'm just gonna get everything in place. Now it's time for the magic that makes this illusion come to life. I'm gonna have my fan propped up on some boxes. You can use 2x4s, whatever you have laying around. Working on getting my lights positioned here. Got a yellow LED. This is a red one. Give that authentic fire color. That's pretty much it. Now we have to get everything into place. I like to use LEDs. They won't get hot for this effect. All right, seal everything up. You need a little more slack so that the fan can blow the sheet around. That's how you get the effect. I have all this attached to one power strip so everything goes on and off with one switch. There we go. That's what we want. The wind to give us some movement, and then from outside at night, it'll look like real fire.
I'm gonna show you how to make a Minion costume. So first, you're just gonna cut out a 1-inch thick strip of black felt. But remember, you don't want it to go all the way around and connect because the beanie needs to stretch around your head. Then to make the eyes for your goggles, you're really just gonna layer 3 circles of felt. And to trace your circles, you can just use any objects that you have hanging around the house of different sizes. But once you've glued the pieces of your eyes together, you can glue them to the black felt strap. I'm gluing it right there, see? I've got slack, but when I put it on my head, they're perfect. To make my Minion hair, I just cut 6 short pieces of black pipe cleaner, and then I'm gonna glue that onto the back of my beanie. So I made my Minion G out of black and blue felt. You can see that I glued them together, but it works. Instead of using glue or double-sided fabric tape and ruining the overalls that I love, I'm just using regular old double-sided tape for this. I'm gonna stick it right on there, and that'll be enough. Now I'm just gonna go grab a yellow shirt from my closet, throw on these black rubber gloves, put this all together, and I'll be a Minion.
If you want to think outside of the box, there are plenty of fun and creative things you can give to trick-or-treaters. Glow sticks are really easy to find and get in bulk, and kids will probably throw them on right away. These glow stick wands are super cute, and kids can use them to celebrate the rest of the evening. These tiny Halloween stamps are very affordable, and kids will be able to use them all year long. Toys like Slinkies and bouncy balls are also really easy to find in bulk and super fun. Halloween-themed stickers and temporary tattoos are a great way to add some extra fun this Halloween. Many stores sell a variety pack so you can get more options for less. Bubbles are really easy to find at any party store, plus they're really fun. Halloween-themed pencils and notebooks are great for arts and crafts, and they'll be using them all year long. Accessories like rings and necklaces will add to the Halloween spirit. Be sure to throw in some Halloween-themed versions of childhood classics.
With everyone shopping at the same stores, you can run across the same decorations throughout the whole neighborhood. That's why I like a simple DIY to dress up a common prop. So take all those old costumes and get ready for a makeover. You can dress up a skeleton to fit any Halloween theme. Sorry, Bernie, the weekend's over. Let's get you dressed to impress. Now, I just need to get you a broom. My skeleton witch. Hey, cowabunga, you wanna go for pizza? Use your imagination, the options are endless. This is perfect if you repurpose old costumes, or you can find affordable options secondhand. If you don't have a skeleton, go ahead and make your own character props just by stuffing a costume. It doesn't take magic to bring an old costume to life.
Here's your guide to allergy-friendly Halloween candy. This may seem like a lot if you've never had to worry about allergies in your home. The FDA requires all major food allergies to be listed on the label, so I would begin by checking there. Allergy-friendly typically refers to being free of wheat, soy, egg, dairy, fish, shellfish, peanuts, and tree nuts. Another great tip is to look for the allergy-friendly stamp of approval. Yum Earth is a great brand for allergy-friendly and clean candy, meaning no artificial dyes, high fructose corn syrup, or GMOs. It's also vegan-friendly and organic. Now that these substitutes have become more popular, you can easily find variety packs like this. I recommend making a sign to let trick-or-treaters know that you have an allergy-friendly selection. If you don't want to make all of your decisions based on allergies, you can make a smaller pot with just a few options. If you want to get chocolate, I recommend choosing an option that doesn't include any peanuts or tree nuts. If you want to avoid worrying about allergies altogether, you can always give away toys instead. It's easy to get fun small toys in bulk for an affordable price.
Remove that lid and clean out the inside. Pretty traditional. The hole will need to be large enough to fit a plant container. You can trace the shape with a dry erase marker. And you can wash your pumpkin to get rid of any extra dirt or debris. All this takes is your favorite fall foliage from the garden center. That plant goes right into the cavity. Smaller pumpkins are gonna be great for small plants and even succulents. Choose plants with beautiful fall colors or something creepy and weird for Halloween. And these are perfect for centerpieces or even a gift. You can make these ahead of time. They'll last for a few days and then you'll still have a beautiful plant.
Today I'm gonna show you how to create a dead effect with makeup. You can do this from scratch, or you can build upon other effects like I'm doing here. The key to looking dead is looking pale and gaunt. I'm gonna start by making my face pale. And since I've already got an old age effect going on in my skin, I'm just gonna avoid the wrinkle areas. Now don't forget to bring the makeup down on your chest or any area of skin that's showing. Now that I'm pale, I'm gonna add some green and dark tones to make my skin look gaunt. Now I'm gonna add a little bluing to the lips. And here we have it, a super easy way to make any costume look so much more creepy.
Pumpkins can take up to 100 to 120 days to harvest, so plant accordingly. You don't have to be limited by a small space, you can grow in containers. You'll need really good soil and stock up on fertilizer and compost. I love picking up seeds at a local nursery. If you're limited on space, maybe go for a smaller variety. Plant jack-o'-lantern seeds if carving's your goal. The colorful variety is great for decorating. For beginners, maybe start off with some tiny pumpkins. And the smaller sugar pie pumpkins are gonna be perfect for roasting and eating. One seed will produce one plant, and you really only need one successful plant to harvest a few good pumpkins. If you're starting from seed, once they sprout, go ahead and transfer it to a larger pot or right into your garden. Nurturing and harvesting your own pumpkins can feel like a great reward come fall. Pumpkins will need plenty of water, but soak the soil only and avoid watering the leaves. And pumpkins are gonna need plenty of sunlight. All right, Brendan Fraser, we've gotta stop the mummy. You'll need cheesecloth, muslin, but I'm using gauze. This is great for small pumpkins, but I'm using an artificial pumpkin that I can use year after year. I'm gonna start with a little Mod Podge, glue your gauze down, and go to town wrapping your mummy. I like to crisscross the gauze and twist it to create texture and dimension. And you can apply more Mod Podge in sections as you go. I love a craft where the messier, the better. Move that fabric around, create a lot of texture and dimension, ruffle it up, let it stick out. You don't want it just all flat to the pumpkin. Once the pumpkin's fully covered, I like to just go around and apply the Mod Podge just to lock all that fabric in place. For a weathered look, tea stain your fabric. You'll just want this to dry before applying it to your pumpkin. You can add eyeballs, and you can find fun embellishments at the craft store like these scrapbooking stickers. Instead of picking those seeds one by one, fill a large bowl with water, getting out those large chunks of the flesh. The pumpkin seeds will float while most of that pulp sits underneath. And just strain and skim the seeds off the top. A mesh strainer works here too. I like to give those seeds an extra rinse, get any of that remaining pulp off. Use a clean kitchen towel or maybe even a salad spinner to get them dry. Now those seeds are ready for your favorite recipe. And don't throw this out. You can puree it and use it in your fall baking, like pumpkin bread. For a dry method, spread those seeds out on a baking sheet. Set your oven as low as it'll go, no higher than 200 degrees. We're not roasting the seeds, we're just dehydrating all the pulp. Keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn. Those seeds are done dehydrating. the pulp just flakes right off. This method may take a little time, up to a couple hours, but it's so easy and your seeds are ready to go. I like to transfer these to a colander and just sift out the rest of it. You don't have to have a ticket to Hogwarts to be a potion master. Clean the jars, remove the labels, and now we can get crafting. Just pick up some craft store paint in your favorite colors and get to painting. You don't have to be an artist, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, the imperfections will give your project a little character. Another technique, coat the inside of your jar as if it's the potion inside. For clean lines, you can use masking tape. I'm just painting over this logo. You can even create potions with a little bit of food color. Do not drink. Actually, it's just water and food color, so you can drink. And now I got a bottle of dragon's blood, sure. This is why anybody can do this. The craft store has plenty of options to decorate your jars. That looks awesome, but I've got one final touch. It can be tough to paint on letters, so I just use stickers. Colored contacts like this can really transform your face. First tip, wash your hands really well. One of the secrets for putting in contacts is to keep your hands a little wet. Make sure that contact lens is the right direction. If you're doing this for the first time, the sensation's a little weird, so you may need to give it a few tries. I'm gonna use one finger to hold the bottom up. The transformation is in process. These are gonna be reusable, so make sure you have contact lens solution and a case. One of the most terrifying props you can use is a real chainsaw. This is the secret of pros from haunted houses and movies. Using real tools, but in a safe way. You'll need a real chainsaw, and it's as simple as removing the blade. Follow instructions for the particular model to remove the chain. Make sure to wear gloves and use the proper tools. Once the chain's removed, you have a safe, authentic prop. You can even distress the chainsaw for a real horror look. This is a real gas-powered tool, so make sure you know how to properly operate it. What makes this such an effective prop is it stimulates multiple senses. It sounds real, it smells real, and it looks real because it is real. A classic way to use up leftover candy is just to make bark. When you're melting chocolate in the microwave, lower your power setting to 50%. This will help you not burn your chocolate. Microwave in 20-second increments and make sure to give it a stir in between. Spread that melted chocolate out. You want it about a ½ inch thick. This is barely a recipe because all you need to do is melt chocolate and it's so freeform. This works perfect with white chocolate as well. I'm just gonna add all my candy pieces right on top. You can go crazy, add anything from your pantry like pretzels, even chopped nuts. No rules, that's how it should be in the kitchen, right? No rules. Just make sure all those candy pieces are nestled in that chocolate so they stick. And just break this bark into bite-sized pieces. Delicious way to enjoy leftover candy. One of the best parts about fall decorating is the versatility. Throughout the season, you use a lot of similar elements. And with thematic layering, the transitions between seasons can be seamless. You can decorate one bin at a time, one room at a time over several days. I like to make it even more fun with a playlist to fit the occasion. You can make your life so much easier by starting with a base layer of autumn decor. All the generic decor like leaves, pumpkins, all the cozy stuff. Makes it easy because I organized and labeled my bins. These aren't scary, but they'll change the mood from summer to fall. I especially love to bring the outside in with some natural elements like wood and straw. Once that base layer of decorating is done, you can add in all those spooky elements just for Halloween. I love simple props that are easy to set out and take away when the holiday's over. Then you're left with your base layer, no need to redecorate. One of the easiest ways to decorate is to just spookify your existing decor. Add spider webs, and don't forget to add spiders. You can drape gauze over items and use a spooky fabric over furniture and windows. You can spookify just about anything. These were already collecting dust, so just add some cobwebs. Adhesive Velcro is an easy way to string cobwebs. You can find unique items at thrift shops that fit that spooky vibe. One person's trash can be a Halloween treasure. Customize your finds with your own touches. That makes for one-of-a-kind Halloween decor. Your pumpkin isn't truly alive until you bring it to light. My favorite nostalgic Halloween effect is just a light and a pumpkin. But these days, a candle just ain't enough. A battery-operated candle is a big upgrade from that old school wick. Gives you that same effect, but it's way safer and easier to use. Consider the size of your pumpkin too. For something bigger, go with a larger candle or a teeny tiny light for your tiny pumpkins. But for a real upgrade, I love a color-changing LED remote-controlled light. This gives you so much customization and room for creativity. For a mesmerizing glow effect, you'll need wax paper. Just a piece big enough to cover your carving. Just line the inside to create a little bit of diffusion behind those openings. This will cast a ghoulish glow and all you'll see is the light and not the inside of the pumpkin. For a bit of whimsy, use some fairy lights. Now this is gonna be magical. You can even mix up the magic. Ooh, I love the way that looks. Now to take you to your final resting place.
I'm gonna show you how to make an easy DIY Dalmatian costume, whether you have 1 or 101 Dalmatians in your family. So first you're gonna start with your white felt and just trace along the top of the headband so you get that nice curve. And then you can just freehand your ear. And it's super easy, it can be any shape you want. So just grab your pipe cleaner and then put a bead of hot glue along the edge of your white felt on your ear. Then I just put a bead of hot glue along my pipe cleaner and I can glue the other side of my ear to the back side. Then just open up the bottom of your ear a little bit and you can glue it onto your headband by sort of wrapping it around and adhering it with the hot glue. And because you have your pipe cleaner in there, you can fold them down, fold one up, fold one down, and make it really fun for your Dalmatian ears. So there's really 2 ways you can make your spots, but you can do it with matte black fabric paint. The first way to make your spots is just using a sponge dappling brush and basically stamping it onto your clothing. If you want imperfect spots like I have on my overalls here, which is super fun and cute, you can use a filbert brush. It has a rounded end and you can just freehand the spots. So all you need now is some black costume makeup and you can make a really fun spot around your eye. Oh yeah, that's gonna be good. Once your paint dries, you can pop on your outfit, put on your ears, and don't forget your tail, and then you're ready to go get some treats.
I'm gonna create a knife wound, and so to start, I'm gonna take some molding wax and warm it up. Now that my wax is warm, I'm gonna plan where my wound is gonna go and lay down some prosthetics glue right there. Now that the glue is tacky, I'm gonna take my warm molding wax and lay it, stretch it out right across the glue. Using a little Vaseline and a sculpting knife, I'm gonna smooth out the edges of my molding wax. If your knife is sticking on the wax, just add a little bit more Vaseline. The next step is we're gonna create a slit right down the middle of this wax. And obviously, be careful if you're using something sharp. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of reddish black to create depth inside the wound. I'm gonna add a layer of red blood tone inside the wound. I'm gonna add a little of this red paint to the outside of the wound as well. Now this product is so cool. It's coagulated blood. Just scoop it right on inside. The other cool thing about this product is that it makes the wound look wet. Last up, we're gonna drip blood into the wound. Totally fine if blood drips out, just let it drip down naturally. Adding blood and gore gives that shock value that really makes your costume stand out.
Start with clean seeds. Preheat your oven to 350. Pick a profile. Are you going sweet or savory? Maple, honey, brown sugar, all great options. I'm a savory fan, so you can go with a spice blend or create your own. A little paprika, chili powder would be great. Cumin, gotta have it spicy, so I'm adding a lot of cayenne. And maybe some garlic. A popular trick is to boil the seeds for 10 minutes in salted water. It'll make them more tender and flavorful. You will wanna get rid of that excess water before roasting. To the sweet side, I'm gonna add some melted butter, pumpkin pie spice, you can go cinnamon, and a touch of maple. To balance out the sweetness, a little sprinkle of salt. On the spicy side, I'm using a touch of olive oil, my custom spice blend, and just a little extra salt. Get everything evenly coated. Pumpkin seeds will need to roast anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. You may want to toss those seeds around about halfway through. If you've sweetened those seeds, keep a close eye on it so it doesn't burn. Let your seeds cool completely, pack them up, and snack them up. What a tasty treat. For this DIY project, I'm making a fog chiller to produce an extra spooky effect. I have all my supplies. Everything was easy to find at a local hardware store. Tracing a cutout where all the fog is gonna enter the chiller. This side is done, so we have our fog machine. That's gonna pass through our opening, which is gonna go through our chamber. I have this duct to act as our chimney. The fog is gonna pass through this, cascade over all of our ice, and exit the other side. So let's work on that hole. To wrap things up, I'm gonna insulate the top seal of our fog chiller. This way none of the fog will escape when we're running our machine. We're all built. I don't have any ice in here yet, but I'm just gonna test for leaks. Okay, we got a lot of leaks. Oh, but it's coming out the front, just how we want. I sealed up some leaks with some duct tape. Now it's time for the real thing. I'm gonna add the ice and really test this thing out. Hit the red button. So that's what the fog chiller does. Makes the fog a little bit more dense so it hangs low. When it comes to an incredible costume, all the details matter, and that includes your teeth. These costume fangs are really easy to apply. They're reusable, and they'll feel great in your mouth. Everything you need is in the kit, so let's get mixing. Start with the powder. Then we're gonna mix in the solution. 6 drops. Give this a mix. Takes a while of stirring, so just be patient, but it'll come together and form a sticky gum. Now that I've got my thick gum, it's ready for tooth number 1. That's what we're going for. I'm gonna apply that to the inside cavity. Okay, you gotta hold it there in place for a little bit, and don't wiggle it. A paper towel or some gauze really helps in this process. Now wait at least 15 minutes. What's great about these is once they're set, you can take them out and reuse them over and over again. You can make a big impact with your Halloween decor by adding a little contrast and color. LED lights come in a variety of styles. They can be multicolor, and best of all, they're affordable. Your best option is gonna be battery powered to add a little light and magic just about anywhere. These are so compact, you can put them just about anywhere. An effect I love is to make the swap to flickering light bulbs. Now that's a safe way to give the illusion of an actual flame. Smart bulbs can be a lot of fun. Of course, you have wireless controls, you can set timers, and I love to sync them to music. If you've never used LED strip lights, Halloween is the perfect season to give them a try. With this flexible strip, you can really get creative to fit any shape, size, or space. And if you didn't already know, you can cut these to size, and they usually include an adhesive strip. You can add a huge splash of color to walls and corners with LED floodlights. Unlimited power!
I'm gonna show you how to make an easy DIY Where's Waldo costume that's perfect for all you Halloween procrastinators. First, you're just gonna take some fuzzy red yarn and start wrapping it around your hand a bunch of times until it gets really thick. Now, once it feels really weird on your hand and it's super thick, you can just cut it off. I'm just tying a tight knot, securing it in the center so those loops kind of flare out. You can tie it in a double knot to make it secure. Once it looks like this, we're just gonna start cutting our loops open. After you cut the loops open, you can just start trimming the rest of the strings. And now we have our pom-pom for the top of our Waldo hat. So I'm just gonna use a white beanie that I had hanging around at home, some red felt, and I'm gonna adhere it to the bottom of his beanie with some double-sided fabric tape. Now I'm just gonna glue my pom-pom onto the top of the hat using hot glue. Boop. Now you can just throw on some jeans and brown boots. I grabbed this red and white striped shirt that's Waldo perfect from my husband's closet. Hope he doesn't mind. And find yourself some black glasses. I grabbed these from the party store for $1 and you're good to go.
Makeup can only go so far. For a full 3D look, add some texture. With spirit gum and some fake hair, you can create any facial hair look to really add some dimension and texture to your overall makeup look. Choose a shade that either matches your natural hair color or a wig. Don't just stop at your face. Add makeup and texture anywhere that makes sense for your character. When the night's over and it's time to get rid of all that adhesive, make sure to use a spirit gum remover. For makeup, try coconut oil. It can help as a remover. Hair, makeup, and all the details are gonna make all the difference when getting into character for your costume.
I'm gonna show you how to make an easy DIY Beekeeper costume. So the first thing you're gonna do is take any old wide-brimmed hat that you don't care about, or you can thrift one, and you're gonna spray paint it with white fabric spray paint. And now I'm just hot gluing these little felt bees to the brim. The next thing you're gonna do is cut a piece of seam binding to the length of the circumference of the brim of your hat. Now you'll just attach your seam binding to the brim of your hat using hot glue. So I'm just gluing my tool in the seam binding and closing it after I place the glue, just like this. Now I'm just gonna hot glue another piece of seam binding to the bottom of my tool, close it up. So now that I've secured my net to my hat, I'm just gonna start gluing some more of these cute little felt bees to the net with hot glue. For your Beekeeper suit, you can just grab white paint coveralls from any home improvement store in the paint section for super cheap. I'm gonna add some more of the little bees to my suit. Now I'm just taking some yellow felt and I'm cutting a honey drip shape out of it to glue to my white bucket. You already know the next step. I'm just gonna glue some more bees to my bucket because you know the bees love that honey. Oh, don't forget this for trick-or-treating. Have fun.